It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Welcome into another Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders. Alan, how we doing?
Got some disturbing news today, Smitty.
Okay.
Heyward is being sold.
Oh.
I don't know if it's disturbing, but to the same people that own Dollywood, which is in Tennessee.
Okay. Well, so I guess that's hopeful. Because my question was going to be, is the park staying open, or did they just want to tear it down for something else? But if the people also own Dollywood, they're kind of in the attraction sphere.
Actually, I mean, depending on how you feel about the previous owners, this may not be disturbing news at all. I don't know. But
yeah.
It's always disturbing when something that we care a lot about changes hands. I feel like
who's the previous owner?
It's like some Spanish company. They've owned it for a while, since it was no longer owned by the family that started it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that just dropped, I'm guessing. I didn't see anything.
Yeah. It's just. Yeah. Have you been on the Steelers coaster at Kennywood?
No.
We talked about this. Are you? I
haven't been there in a while. Yes, but I just haven't been to Kennywood in a while.
Are you tall enough to ride?
Oh my god. Yes. I think. What's the do we know what it is offhand? Do we know what the
I don't know. Is? I don't know. Sorry.
I feel pretty good about it. But,
it's just right there.
I guess I shouldn't have been that confident because I don't know what the height requirement is, but I feel pretty good in terms of that. Yeah, that's good. People are gonna love that. Way to start off the episode.
I really like that roller coaster, but it's never open, and it's not going to be open for the start of this season either. So,
yeah, that's the thing I always see people complaining about is that it seems like it's always under maintenance.
I get the idea. They closed it all last year with the idea that it was going to be more reliably open, but it's not done yet. So I don't
know. Alan,
good ride.
The height requirement is 52 inches. So yes.
So you're good. You're safe. You're safe.
Yeah, I'm good. What a way to kick off the episode. I love it. I'm sure that we're gonna do a field day in there. You know what? Since you decided to take that shot at me, I'm going to say that I fully endorse the idea of Jaxson Dart becoming a Pittsburgh Steeler. So you have to deal with him being a Pittsburgh Steeler.
I
don't actually, by the way. No, I just took another because I don't want that to happen either. So never mind. I don't endorse.
Yeah, you're lose there. You're lose there.
I'm losing.
And honestly, seeing me get wound up every day would probably bring you a lot of joy. So it would probably work out in your you'd be fine.
Two mock drafts that I saw drop today. One had the Steelers drafting Jaxson Dart. The other one had him going 9th overall.
9.
Yeah. What are we doing?
So I guess you should. So Mel Kiper had him going 9th to the Saints, then went on TV and said, last year I picked the Broncos were going to take Bo Nix, and I got talked out of it. This year I'm planting my flag. He's going number 9. And not only said it was going to happen, defended it like it would be a good decision. Okay. Daniel Jeremiah mocked him to the Steelers at 21. Then hours later put on his own Twitter account, hey, just want to make sure you all know a prediction is not an endorsement. So DJ is telling you what's up, and he's got Dart on his big board down in the 40s somewhere, I think. I think that might be generous. It's like what if you could get all of Kenny Pickett's lack of upside, but also without his very high floor? like you could have Jaxson Dart. He's a worse prospect than Kenny Pickett. Taking him at 21 would be just beyond stupid. I can't even it's mind-boggling to me that anyone is suggesting this is a thing that could happen.
Parallels being that both are in pretty poor quarterback classes. Kenny Pickett was still the first one to go, and it didn't happen until the Steelers at pick number 20. I was going to ask you though, okay, so I think that's an interesting thing to bring into the conversation because I've seen, the Kenny Pickett stuff even prior to you saying that just now. One, where would Kenny Pickett slot into this group if he was part of this quarterback class of prospect? Because I where did you view Kenny as a prospect when he did come out in 22?
I thought Kenny was a 15 to 25 kind of player. I was a little surprised he was there for the Steelers. I think that's where I'd put him again. He'd be pretty clearly the third best player in this class, I think. I think he might be better than I think it would be a conversation about him and Sanders.
Okay.
And I don't think he's as good of a prospect as Cam Ward.
To play devil's advocate on yourself, do you see anything as to why people would have the vision that they do here for Jaxson Dart? Like, I know that it's hard because you view him the way that you do, obviously, for a reason. You have the opinion that you do about him as a prospect. But in terms of, like, if you were to try to, like, you know, take an outside vision in on this and say, this is something that maybe teams are seeing.
So I don't think teams are seeing it, but I kind of understand why people see it, because when you watch the Ole Miss tape, the offense looks good. But like their offense is this weird gimmicky thing where like they win with the scheme a lot. He throws a lot of wide open deep passes that, by the way, also take forever to get there because he has mediocre arm strength.
Yeah.
But like they win with the scheme. Almost all of his completions are first read. When he has to go first read, it's terrible. When he runs, he always runs. Like there's none of those like picket throw on the run, like sort of like, hey, found this kind of like, and he's not that good of a runner. He's not fast. He's tough. I'll give him that. But like, if you look at the highlights, I can see it. I can understand the attraction, but any deeper level of analysis should reveal big problems with that idea.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that, and you see this with a lot of quarterbacks now coming in, like he's an above average athlete probably for the position. And this isn't me like making an endorsement for him, but like he looks the part.
Yeah,
like
definitely looks
physically he looks the part. And I think maybe some people are probably buying into that. Again, I think a lot of it just has to do with trying to find one guy within this draft class that is going to be the dude that nobody would have thought when the season ended it was going to be that guy. Like, so Jaxson Dart clearly has gotten propped up as that guy here through this cycle. Is like, I mean, even Tyler Shuck, right, to a degree, has gotten propped up, but not to the level where he's being taken 9th overall in a mock draft by somebody that's been doing this for as long as Mel Kiper and planting his flag now. Like you said, it's March 18th. If he's going to stick to his guns here for a month and some change until the NFL draft and just keep rolling with this through every mock draft, man, I mean, that's going to say something.
I mean, I think the Saints are actually a really good situation for him, because the one thing about Dart is, even though he's played a ton of college football, he is pretty young. Like, I'm not saying he can't work out. Like, I think he will have a career. Like, I think he will be an okay starting quarterback. The problem is he doesn't have great physical tools. So there's a cap on the ceiling. And he's also got the problems I laid out before. So he doesn't have that high floor. Like, look, love or hate Kenny Pickett, he wasn't that bad as a Steelers starting quarterback, even as a rookie. Like, we've seen some awful rookie quarterback performances out there over the years. The Steelers didn't get awful out of Kenny Pickett. They didn't get unplayable. They weren't picking in the top 5 like the Patriots are when they had Drake May. Like, we've seen, and he wasn't the reason why. I'm just like, we've seen lots of Bryce Young's rookie year. There you go. Like, it's not like Pickett was terrible, right? He was okay.
I would say like the way that he ended the season, and like we were always talking about like how good he was specifically in the fourth quarter, but the way he ended the season specifically, like we were very excited. Yeah. And then had the preseason that he did, like we were really excited.
You got a good floor, a good high floor out of Kenny Pickett, and you expected that when you were drafting him. The same limitations on the upside. The arm strength is just not there. The accuracy is, I mean, I'm a little bit colored with the accuracy because I thought at the Senior Bowl he was just awful. He did look a lot better at the combine, and he does complete a high percentage of his passes. But like the guys are wide open all the time. Like, it's not, and so like he's not that accurate. Doesn't have great arm strength. Not an elite athlete. Not even really. I don't even know if I agree that he's an above average athlete. He's tough. He's willing to take some hits, but like. He looks like a guy who runs a 4.8 to me. Like, I don't see like elite athleticism there, or even like above average athleticism. This is just crazy talk. And like, DB put out his wide receiver quarterback rankings at the site today. So go there. Steelers now check it out.
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe third. I full-heartedly agree. Like, there's just no other way about it. Like, that's a way better prospect. I don't even know that I would have. Yeah, Dart's next, but like, man, it's not close for me.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I haven't chimed in a ton on this just because I don't want to be unfair. My time away from work has been a little bit more preoccupied with getting my house ready as opposed to normal years where I'm like really deep into draft stuff by now. I haven't watched a lot of Jaxson Dart or Tyler Shuck. I've watched those top three and I have them in the exact same order with those top three. I have a hard time though, just believing off like my live viewing of Jaxson Dart that I'm going to have him above Jalen Milroe just because I'd be chasing that upside before, you know, the like we're talking about the floor of what Jaxson Dart is, which isn't even like that safe of a floor to me. So like, I will say though, you mentioned just because of like the Saints thing and said that might be a good fit. Kellen Moore, the new head coach there, obviously, I think that could be good. But also we've talked about like how interesting it could be, you know, like with a San Fran or like somebody like that, like where it's almost like QB proof. Well, Kubiak, who was just the OC in New Orleans, it would have been interesting if he was still there, but now he's in Seattle. You look at the contract that they gave Sam Darnold, really only 1 year guaranteed. Imagine if they like pulled the trigger on something like that, just as like a little bit of insurance behind Sam Darnold, then moved on from him after a year, if they liked what they saw.
Sure.
I'm not suggesting that happen. It just got my gears rolling here because you mentioned New Orleans and I thought, oh wait, Kubiak's not there anymore. Yeah.
The Seahawks don't have a second round pick until 50. Okay,
but they have the Steelers now too, right?
I don't
like,
think
so
I don't think they would have to trade. Yeah, but they have they have 2 seconds, so they'd probably have to either take them at 18 is bonkers, but like trade up from 50. They got a bunch of draft picks. They got 2/3 and 2 seconds and 2 5ths and 2 7ths, no 6th. So they can trade up in the second, go get them. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see if that happens. As we still the whole reason that we're even talking this much about Jaxson Dart, obviously, is the Pittsburgh Steelers still looking for their quarterback. Cam Heyward is tired of waiting, Alan. Talked on his podcast about the Aaron Rodgers situation, said he's not going to go in a darkness retreat to recruit him. Kind of just laid it out there what his pitch would be. You either want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't. What do you make of this? This seems like a little bit of a turn from last year where like openly recruiting Russell Wilson, getting on the phone with him and stuff like that. Now this being the turn, do you think that it's just like a different play? Do you think he's tired of waiting? Do you think he doesn't want Aaron Rodgers? Where are we at with this?
Very interesting to hear Cam say that. And also like maybe, you know, not I don't want to say hypocritical, but like not necessarily consistent. How about that? Like, because he said, like, if you want me to come recruit you, like, I'm not going to do that. Well, he did recruit Russell Wilson last year. So, like, is it the implication was like, I'm not going to go recruit, but maybe it's just like, I don't want you. Like, I don't know. That's an interpretation. That's not what he said. But I think given the facts there, it's kind of a reasonable interpretation. Also, like, about what I know about Cam, I don't see him and Aaron Rodgers just being like best buds. Like, I doubt their like personalities line up perfectly. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. A bit out of character for the team captain to weigh in on a player not part of the team. And makes me wonder what the locker room thinks about Aaron Rodgers. I have a good feeling about what the locker room thinks about Russ. I don't really know if there's a consensus opinion about whether this is a good idea or a bad idea, and if it dragging on for weeks has impacted that opinion. Maybe people who were open to the idea at first are now like, come on, dude, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, it's certainly not a pro. Like whether we think it's a con or not, it's certainly not something that is in Aaron's favor in terms of winning people over on the team that is waiting to see if he's going to be their quarterback or not. I think the part that you said about Russell Wilson was interesting too, though, because in the same token, like I'm not saying that like this has to happen to say that there are people that are open to him coming back, but it's also like I was talking about this with somebody today, notable to me. I'm not saying that everybody has to take this look. This is just one person's opinion here, that you don't see teammates like clamoring for Russ to come back either. Like I haven't seen any support in terms of him being retained.
Yeah, and you see that a lot, like with usually. So
Well, Joe Burrow's getting everybody under the sun retained in Cincinnati. So, if
Joe
TJ
to
Watt would come
negotiate
out
my contracts.
yeah, exactly. I'm just if somebody like Cam Heyward, what if he were to have said, like I want Russ back at any point? That would have been interesting to me. But we have seen no.
Yeah, I don't think that, and I don't know, and then it's this weird situation too, where it's kind of like these are really the only two options that are out there, and so I think there are people that aren't going to be happy no matter what happens. I don't know if I can put a finger on a consensus or not.
Out of all the options in that limited list that are still remain, those two, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, do you see one other than those two that you believe would be an upgrade upon just having Mason Rudolph be the starter this year that's still available?
Yeah. I mean, I would sign Joe Flacco before I now I don't know that he's definitely going to win the job from Rudolph, but I would do that before just handing it to Rudolph. Or Carson Wentz. I think either of those are guys that
at least have been open competition.
Yeah, you could at least sign to be a competition.
That's probably what I should have asked you are those the only two that are definitively the starter where Rudolph's no longer in the mix as TB1?
Yeah, because even if they traded for Milton or Willis, I think they would hold a competition.
Yeah. I'm in the same bucket there. Anything else to add on today's Aaron Rodgers discussion?
I've got nothing to add to the reports that they're closer or
yeah.
I don't know.
There's a reason that I didn't. I mean,
I did there was a report by our buddy Noah Strackbine that Rodgers did reach out to the Steelers today, and I had a great mental picture. Or was that today or yesterday? I think the report was today, but that it happened yesterday. Great mental picture though of Aaron just picking up his phone, like, "Hey, yeah, sorry, I missed a bunch of calls. What's up?" just
scratching his head, 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
Yawning.
That says 1,400 voicemails. Let's see what Omar needs real quick. I think that mental picture brought me a lot of joy. So glad we can have a little bit of that throughout this process.
I don't know if we're any closer to the outcome. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. I know that he has asked some questions about the organization and the coaching staff to people in the city itself. So I don't know. I there's some level of intrigue there, obviously, from his side. We'll see if anything comes of it or what on earth Josina Anderson was reporting in terms of that. But yeah, because I don't think we ever got anything that came out of that combine report sponsored by Bovada that she put out.
No, DK Metcalf. That was, I guess you want to give her credit, we should give her credit for that.
I should have. she blocked me, so I can't ask her, but I'm curious, hey, I'll take your word for it. Is this what you were referring to? I don't know. Alan, I did get a question that actually just came in a couple minutes ago as we were recording, but I like it, and it kind of pertains to what we're talking about here. Bert, sports fan, obviously brought up on the channel again. Do you feel like this goes back to last year? So this is kind of baked in from last year's opinion, where you said you didn't feel like the Steelers were that close. Actually, you got a lot of flack for having that opinion. But going back to last year where you said that, do you feel like the Steelers are closer or further away even from last season? Is it wholly attached to finding the answer at quarterback?
I don't think the Steelers team that they're going to put on the field this year is any closer. I do feel like we now have some sense of an idea of what the plan is to get a quarterback. And we didn't have that, I think, at this time last year. So I don't think they're any closer. I don't think this team is going to be better. About the same, maybe. I guess it could be better. So the draft goes. TBD on whether this team is going to be better than last year. I don't think the team's going to be good enough this year to be a real contender, but I think you can see the plan and the path forward to how they want to get there. And I'm not sure that was obvious last year. So,
yeah,
I don't know if that answered the question.
So here's what I'll say is I thought the quarterback for the Steelers, not only for last season, but at least for a few seasons, was on the roster last year, whether it be Russell Wilson playing so well that they rewarded him with an extension, or it ended up being Justin Fields that they turned to see both those guys leaving the organization. I won't say it's like a massive shock to me or anything that the organization necessarily did wrong, but going into last season, it's not what I would have predicted.
Even a month ago, it's not what I predicted. I thought they would sign Wilson when they didn't re-sign Fields. I also didn't think that Fields not playing well and not having, like, I'm still surprised at the market for Fields. I don't know what the Jets are really doing there, but it's the Jets, so like you just kind of got to write it off. And
does Garrett Wilson already have Joe Burrow type pull in the Meadowlands?
He might. Good for him if he does. Hey, we got to talk about the Browns.
Okay.
So we were informed on YouTube by one of our audience members. I don't know if you have it. I did.
Yeah, Matt Nerdy 7236.
There you go.
Yeah.
Says that a brownie is like a house elf. Like it's like a hobgoblin, like a spirit, like a little gremlin that like lives in your pantry or something like that, which I had never even heard of before. So I appreciate being educated, but I'll say this: when you go to Wikipedia for the brownie page, it's this like creepy, ghoulish looking little creature that I could get on board with as a football mascot. Like it's a little esoteric, but it's still creepy looking, bit unnerving. I get it. That the elf is an elf, not a this thing. I don't know. It's the logo's still. In fact, as I was looking last night, there's actually a newer, more modern version of Brownie the Elf where he's kind of got the football in like the Heisman pose that looks way better than the like very strange, wide-legged old fifth. I don't know. Still out on Brownie the Elf. Sorry, Juan. We'll try to have you on and you can defend your tattoo choice to the audience here, as we've now besmirched your name 2 episodes in a row. And apparently Juan is one who you shall not besmirch, because I saw him absolutely drag a Cleveland podcaster today on Twitter for saying some stuff about him after he left. And he put the social media video yesterday of changing his brown hat to a Steelers hat and waving a terrible towel. And apparently he's one little punchback. So that's good to see. We always like that. So we'll have to try to have Juan on so he can defend his questionable tattoo decisions. But also the Browns are, I don't know if this is not a done deal yet or not, but they have released a video of their new stadium, which is a dome in the suburbs and is the softest, weakest, most pathetic thing of all time.
The dome in the AFC North. What happened to the game that I love? It might be going away. It's over. Do you think, Alan, I don't even want to put this into the universe, so part of me doesn't even want it to leave my lips, that this could be a direction that we're just heading in general?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, I think it's definitely a direction that more teams are going to take. But I don't think you're going to see, like, Green Bay ain't never getting a dome. Buffalo ain't never getting a dome. Kansas City ain't never getting a dome. Pittsburgh ain't never getting a dome. Places where football matters, they're not going to play in a dome. And the other part of this is, and Cleveland is about to learn, is like when you're LA, okay, the dome makes sense, even though it never rains in LA, because you can use it for a lot of different stuff now. Like you can do more things, okay? When you're Indy and you're a world-class event city, even though it's not so cold in Indy that you need a dome, you can have all these things that come to Indianapolis because of the facility. You get a Super Bowl. You get the Final Four. You get all the stuff. The Big Ten championship games there all the time. Ain't nobody taking those things to Cleveland. Ain't nobody taking those things to Pittsburgh. You have to be set up as a city to host those gigantic events. Like it makes sense for some places, big cities with set up downtowns to host those kind of events. Minneapolis, Indianapolis. Like, yeah, sure, makes a lot of sense. New Orleans. Pittsburgh is never getting Super Bowl, even with a dome. Never. We don't have, I think we have like 15% of the required hotel rooms. If either Pittsburgh or Cleveland were to host a Super Bowl, they would have to be counting the hotel rooms in the other city to qualify because there aren't enough in the two of them put together and everywhere in between. Like, welcome to Pittsburgh. Welcome to Super Bowl 72 here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Here's your hotel room in Toledo. It's not happening. So like the supposed benefit of the dome, the multi-use ability, is never going to be realized on middle-class cities like Pittsburgh and Cleveland that have small downtowns that are primarily industrial, that just aren't built for that. And so especially not when you build it out in the suburbs. Really not in that instance. They're building it on by the airport.
So Cleveland and Pittsburgh, though, well, Pittsburgh not yet, obviously, but next year have hosted NFL drafts. Though, do you feel like that's kind of like the cap of the type of event that they could host within that space?
They could host a draft there. They have hosted a draft there.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Cleveland and now Pittsburgh, but like,
I mean,
can't do the Super Bowl.
Could they get a Final Four? Maybe. I doubt it. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. That
like,
this all started
set up. Like, you want a place where all the hotels and all the restaurants and all the things people want to do around the arena are around the arena, and that's not going to happen in some industrial site by the Cleveland airport. Like, and we've seen with the Penguins how often these we're going to develop around the stadium. Stadium's halfway dead and the Penguins have one building. Like, this is all dumb. They should stay in Cleveland. And
this all started with Matt Nerdy bringing up Brownie, which, unlike me, not tall enough to ride the steel curtain at Kennywood. At least one more thing that we got to get to from Stephen 1/16 here, because he gave us $5 for putting in this question, so we appreciate that. Being that we think the Steelers will probably get a plethora of compensatory picks in 2026, could they use some of their current 2026 draft capital to get back into the second round of this year's draft?
Yeah, it's an idea. Could trade like next year's third to move up into the second or something like that. Gotta have the right player there. And I don't really know what the player would be. Like, it's hard to predict. Usually those kind of moves are like, oh, someone that we didn't expect to fall is falling. Now we got to go back up to get them. But it's hard to say. Like, it's hard to lay out a scenario for you. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's definitely possible.
Well, if George Pickens wasn't on the roster and we see Jaden Higgins going down the board a little bit in round 2, that to me would seem like a situation, but
it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah. I don't know. But like, again, until you're looking at the board, it's hard. Could this happen? Absolutely. What's the scenario for it to happen? I don't know. And if they felt strong enough
one
to
of the scenarios, I guess, would be like, man, it's tough. Like, one of the scenarios is if they don't take a defensive tackle in the first round, like watching where like Tyleik Williams and TJ Sanders are in the second.
You know what? Let me ask you one more thing that just came in, and this is from Nick Faribault. This is a question from Nick Faribault that he proposed to me through text message. I haven't answered him yet. Texted me 5 minutes ago. 5 defensive tackles plus Sanders plus Cam. I'm guessing, of course, he's going to go before 21. Who's your next guy? Also, keep in mind, no Genty, Johnson, or McMillan on the board.
So wait, give me this again.
So we get to pick 21. 5 defensive tackles have already gone, along with Shedeur Sanders, Ashton Genty, Will Johnson, Tet McMillan. They're all off the board.
Oh, Emeka Egbuka. It's not even close.
That's kind of the way that I would. Yeah, that's the way.
I don't even know like what my second option would be, but
yeah, I had typed. I had typed Will Johnson, and I realized he included Johnson and the people that weren't left on the board there. But he only has one receiver being gone in that scenario.
I think Igbuka is really underrated in this class. I don't understand why people are kind of sleeping on him. But
I'll
throw another name out there that was not on there that I actually got a question about on. I think somebody mentioned it in the YouTube comments. And I also got a question on Twitter about Jahdae Barron. I think that's one to kind of keep in the back of your hat. Like, I think I'm not saying that I would take him over Grant or Igbuka. I wouldn't. But, like, in certain boards, I can see him making sense at 21. And if they want to trade back a little bit, I think he's a guy that, like, okay, so let's say there's, like, they're looking at a board like Grant's gone. Harmon and Nolan are both there. They're thinking about trading back, but they can only trade back to 25, right? And they're worried, okay, what happens if both guys? Well, okay, so then you could say, like, well, okay, there's Grant, there's Nolan. We like Barron enough. We would take him at 25. We like whatever, Luther Burden enough. We would take him at 25. And so, okay, then you can feel good enough about Kevin Colbert always used to say, if you're going to trade back, you better feel good about enough players in between to make it happen. So, like, I could see them including him in that kind of list.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Igbuka would be my pick there. You mentioned Luther Burden. I think he could probably be in the conversation. Barron would certainly be interesting too, just because I love the player so much, how they would use him. I think it'd be interesting to see, but love the player. Yeah, that's probably the short list right there. Good stuff. Alan, before we get out of here, as always, tell people they can find you.
At @Saunders_PGH. It's right there on the screen. On X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now is the site's account, SteelersNow.com. Go there and read the words so I can get paid. Also sign up for SN Plus, and you get to read the words without ads, which is better. And I also get paid more and more directly, and it's better for everyone. And also, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications here on the YouTube platform as we continue to grow to 15,301 Thornhill. I know we don't do new players, but he put it on Instagram, so I guess we're gonna go. He's wearing 22. Najee Harris, we barely knew ye. Juan Thornhill rocking with the deuces, and I'm taking it.
There you go. You got anybody that can replace the nameplates on jerseys like I used to have mine done?
I did a story about this like a long time ago. I'm gonna have to do it again. Where I bought one on the internet and showed people how to do
it. Okay. So yeah, 15,300 and Deuce Staley subscribers currently on the YouTube channel. Hit us in the comments.
22 is a number with a lot of options there.
Yeah, much better than what did we just have? 15, I think.
15 was
what we had. Yes,
awful.
Yeah.
No,
it was rough. But anyways, yeah, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit us in the comments with your thoughts and anything that we talked about today, questions for a future episode. If you were listening somewhere else, which is why we have to say our handles, even though they are on the screen, be sure to leave a 5-star review and subscribe over there, Apple, Spotify, wherever your podcast from. Just search Steelers Afternoon Drive. Do the same thing on TikTok, and then find me everywhere. Like the screen says, Zachary Smith, PGH. For Alan Saunders and myself, thanks for jumping in. Take another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.